This is Peregocetus pacificus, found in Peru, far from where the scientists expected. It lived 43 million years ago. It could swim like an otter and walk like a wolf. Whales today are massive sea creatures. Some, like the blue whale, are bigger than buses. They swim, they dive, they live their entire lives in the ocean. But Peregocetus was different. It had hooves, it had webbed feet, it could walk, it could swim. It was part wolf, part otter, and part whale. This fossil showed up in South America on the Pacific coast of Peru, and that is a big deal. It's the first four-legged whale ever found in the Southern Hemisphere. It proves that whales crossed entire oceans before fully adapting to sea life. How did a walking whale get across oceans before modern whales even lost their legs? That's exactly what we're going to find out. The shocker in the sand. The year was 2011. Scientists from Belgium, Peru, France, and Italy were digging in a dry, rocky part of the Peruvian coast called Playa Media Luna. Buried in the marine sediments, they made an astonishing discovery. They found bones, not just bits and pieces, but a large, detailed skeleton. It had a lower jaw, vertebrae, flippers that looked like legs, and parts of a tail. This wasn't just some random sea creature. It was something no one had ever seen before on this side of the world. They named it Peregocetus Pacificus, which means the traveling whale that reached the Pacific. Dr. Olivier Lambert led the find from the Royal Belgian Institute of Natural Sciences. When he saw the bones, he knew this had changed everything. Until then, most early whale fossils came from Asia, mainly India and Pakistan. No one expected to find such an early whale in South America, much less on the Pacific Ocean side. This fossil told a new story, a story of movement, a journey, and a transition from land to water, captured in ancient stone. What this beast was. Peregocetus pacificus was no ordinary animal. It looked like something between a crocodile and an otter, but it was neither. It was a whale in the middle of its evolution. Its whole body length was about 4 meters, or 13 feet, about the size of a big alligator. That's already impressive, but the real surprises came in the details of its bones. It had 4 strong legs, not small flippers like modern whales. At the end of those legs were small hooves, just like those found in animals like pigs, deer, and hippos. That tells us something huge. This whale could walk on land. It didn't just drag itself like a seal. Its hip bones and limbs were built to carry weight. Now look at its tail. The bones in the back, called caudal vertebrae, were shaped like the tails of otters or beavers. This means the tail helped it swim, probably moving up and down like whales do today. And its teeth were sharp, pointed, and made for hunting. It probably ate fish and crustaceans. This animal was a true amphibious predator, able to move on land and underwater. A half-land, half-sea whale. Can you imagine? Where it was found. Most fossil whales, like Ambulocetus and Myacetus, were found in South Asia. Scientists believe early whales lived there before moving into the oceans. However, Peregocetus pacificus was discovered in Peru, on the Pacific coast of South America. That's over 10,000 kilometers away from those original fossil sites. This is the first quadrupedal whale ever found on the Pacific Ocean side, and the first in the entire Southern Hemisphere. Evolutionary maps didn't even have a dotted line connecting early whales to South America, until this fossil redrew the route. Around 43 million years ago, the Atlantic Ocean was much smaller than it is today. The continents of Africa and South America were closer together, only half the current distance. Add to that the strong westward ocean currents, and suddenly the trip becomes possible. Scientists now believe that early whales traveled from Africa to South America, swimming across the Atlantic with the help of surface currents. They were strong enough to make the crossing while still walking on land. This changed everything we thought we knew about whale migration. It shows us that these animals had the strength and tools to cross entire oceans before they became full-time swimmers. The grand revolution story, land to sea. To really understand Peregocetus, we need to zoom out and look at the big picture of whale evolution. Believe it or not, whales evolved from land animals. Scientists now know that whales are closely related to animals like hippos, pigs, and deer. These are called artiodactyls, hoofed mammals. One of the earliest known whale relatives was a small creature called Indohus, found in India. It was about the size of a cat, had dense bones to help it sink in water, and had a special ear bone called an involucrum that helps mammals hear underwater. That ear bone is found in every whale, even Peregocetus. That's a key sign that it belonged to the whale family. Then came Ambulocetus, a whale that could walk and swim but wasn't great at either. It looked like a mammal version of a crocodile. Strong jaws, long snout, short legs. Peregocetus came after that. It had better swimming ability, better walking skills, and was more adapted to a coastal lifestyle. After Peregocetus came fully aquatic whales like Basilosaurus, which could no longer walk at all. In less than 20 million years, whales went from walking on land to becoming the giants of the sea. That is one of the fastest and most dramatic transformations in mammal history. What science got right and what it still does not know. Finding Peregocetus pacificus is a major victory for science. It confirms theories about whale migration and evolution that were once only guesses. The fossil shows how whales adapted over time, keeping hooves for walking, but developing tails for swimming. But even with this breakthrough, many questions remain unanswered. For example, scientists say Peregocetus had likely webbed feet. Likely. That word matters. Fossils don't show soft tissue like skin or fur. So when paleontologists imagine what the feet looked like, they base it on the bones and comparisons with living animals like otters. It's an educated guess, not a guarantee. Also, we don't know exactly how or why whales left the land for the sea. Was it to escape predators? Find more food? Explore new environments? The fossil record is like a Netflix series with missing episodes. We know the beginning, we know the end, but the middle, we are filling in scenes with sketches. Science admits its limits. Even Charles Darwin, in On the Origin of Species, wrote that the fossil record is imperfect. He knew future discoveries like this would fill in the gaps. So, yes, Peregocetus gives us more clarity, but it also reminds us how much we still need to know. And that mystery is what makes science so exciting. Is it really a whale or something else? Call it a whale, but look at it twice, and you might call it a four-legged predator with a branding problem. Its tail is more like a beaver's than a whale's. The biggest problem was that the skull, specifically the ears, was missing. That's important because whale ears are unique. Real whales have specialized middle and inner ears that help them hear underwater, ears that sit outside the skull cavity, unlike in land mammals. Without that evidence, calling Peregocetus a whale is a leap of faith. There's also a strange twist in the timeline. Peregocetus is dated at 42.6 million years, but other fossils like Rhodhocetus, Remingtonocetus, and Protocetus, which are more whale-like, are all older, some by 2 to 5 million years. That's like saying a creature with flippers and tail fins existed before one that still walked on land. It doesn't match the usual evolution moves forward narrative. It's a fossil version of you can't be older than your grandson. Critics argue this mismatch weakens the evolutionary timeline. If Peregocetus came after more advanced species, it raises a tough question. Was evolution moving backwards, or are we misreading the clues? Either way, it shows how uncertain the path of whale evolution still is. Maybe Peregocetus wasn't a missing link. Perhaps it was a side branch, or just a smart swimmer with legs. Peregocetus pacificus walked on land. It swam in the sea, and for 43 million years, it waited beneath the sands of Peru for us to find it. This fossil teaches us about the power of discovery, the thrill of the unknown, and the magic hidden in Earth's layers. When someone tells you science is boring, tell them about Peregocetus. In the end, it's about the stories that remain waiting to be uncovered.